What's good? Tune in February 15th for a live stream episode of the What's Good Family Podcast featuring special guest, Park Jam legend Mikey D. The journey from ordinary to legendary will kick off at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I promise you ain't going to want to miss it. If being 100% right overrides your freedom of choice, then I'm ultimately wrong. Thank you for tuning in today. Today on the show, we're going to talk about your conviction, their choice. Let's get into this. So I had a situation this week. I got into a conversation with one of my children, and in getting into this conversation with one of my children, they were conveying to me something that they didn't want to do, something they felt they shouldn't have to do. And me being the dad I am and the person I am, I gave my child the opportunity to speak, and then I spoke. And I conveyed to my child my convictions, what I believe is the right thing to do in this particular situation. And then we'll say reverse psychology. Well, I use reverse psychology to make my point and to get my child to see things the way I wanted them to see them. And ultimately, my child didn't buck the system. My child was like, okay, we'll do it your way. After getting off the phone with my child, my wife, what's up, honey bear? My wife then had a sidebar conversation with me and told me and said, hun, I understand what you were trying to do. And I understand your convictions and I understand the way you view things. But you silenced our child's voice by your conviction, by standing firm on what you wanted to see happen versus hearing them out and allowing them to come to the right choice on their own. And it got me thinking, that wasn't my intention. It wasn't my intention to silence my child's voice. But it came so easy. And it got me thinking, I know what I said and what I'm asking and what I was looking for my child to do was 100% right. But even though it was 100% right, I silenced their voice because they weren't going in a direction that I felt they should go. So it got me thinking, how many people watching this have had similar altercations where they've been the one shut down or being the one doing the shutting down? And I had to really stop and think about this. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I called my child back and I apologized to them. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I did not mean to shut you down or take your voice away. I understand and I see what you're saying. And I'm not going to force you to do what I want you to do. I hope that you would choose to do the right thing. But if not, hey, it's cool. This is your choice. And ultimately, my child decided I'm still going to go through what I said I was going to do. I'm going to do what you said, Dad. And I thank my child. That's just one example. And then we look at things that are happening right now with things that are transpiring in the schools and these kids walking out. And then for me being in Texas, you have the governor threatening to pull funding from schools and saying that these children need to be arrested and this, that, and the third. And it got me thinking, yeah, the governor is technically right in reading up on the Supreme Court case that a lot of people have been referencing. I can't remember it by name. I know it's T-I-N-O, Tinkle, Trinkle versus DeSoto or something like that. In reading up on that Supreme Court case, children don't lose their First Amendment rights being in the schoolhouse. Now, where the line is drawn is they cannot be disruptive in stopping others from getting their lesson. Like they can protest in the school. They could be inside the school saying, hey, we're not going to class. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Da, da, da. But crossing the line is leaving the school building. And so in Abbott saying he's going to defund the schools, get these kids arrested. Some legal experts, some legal lawyers have argued that he's right. He has the law backing him. But that brings me to the point of the episode. Even if the law says he's 100% right, so your need to be right is outweighing these kids' need to be heard. You're taking away their voice because you want to be right. You don't like the optics of it. You don't like how it looks. Now, I know some people watching this, they're going to be like, oh man, you're talking politics. You're talking this. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking more of a moral substance, more of the meat and potatoes behind it. I'm using the school or what's happening in current events as an example, but think about it in your own life. Think about when you were a kid and there was something you did or did not want to do, and you went up to your parents with what you did or did not want to do, and you carefully articulated why you did or did not want to do something, and then they shut you down. Well, you're going to do it or you're not going to do it anyways, regardless of how you feel. Think about it. Ask yourself, how did you feel in that moment? What was the thought process in that moment? Was it one of those, man, I can't say nothing. I'm not heard. They don't hear, they don't understand me. What was your feelings in that moment when you were going through that? That is the moral point of today's episode. It's a fine line between being right and forcing your rights. For all my anime fans, I'll flip it to you like this. My Hero Academia. Someone said, eat this. It was up to Deku to choose to eat it. Now, granted, All Might saw the potential of what Deku could be and what Deku could achieve. He was right in choosing Deku as his successor. But even though he was right, it was still up to Deku to choose to go down that path. If All Might would have forced it down Deku's throat, then he wouldn't be a hero. He would be a tyrant. Think about that for a minute. For all my anime fans, when children are younger, we have to be a strong example of what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, how to act, how not to act. At the younger age with our children, those are the times where our children are learning our convictions and our stance and what to believe in and what not to believe in. As the kids get older, it is up to them to decide what their convictions are. Just because they are our children does not mean that all of our convictions will be their convictions. Children will develop their own sets of moral compass, convictions, and values that they want to live by. It is up to us as parents to set an example for them to follow. We have to be careful on where we draw the line of forcing a conviction. One of my convictions is family. I believe in family, and I believe family has to stick together. But if my child doesn't hold that same conviction or in the same level as I do, then I have to respect their decision when they come of age. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not saying for parents to let your 5-year-old child tell you what they will and won't do. I am telling you to hear them out, let them know they're heard, and then redirect them on what they're going to do. But when they get 17, 16, 17, 18, even 16, 17 is kind of, yeah, we'll touch that when we get there. But 18, I feel parents become more of a guiding force. I can guide you down this path, but I can't force you to walk down this path. I can't walk this journey for you. I feel we as people and as parents, we need to stop and we need to take time to not only hear, but to listen to what the other person or the other party or our children is trying to say. And let them come up to their own version of what's right and what's wrong. Because when they come up to their own, it's their own. Yeah, you can guide them, you can lead them, and you can help them come to a decision, but ultimately let them make that decision on what's best for them. You see it a lot nowadays. And even back in the day, we'll take college, for instance. You got kids going to college. Oh, well, me and your father graduated from this college, so you're going to go to this college. But what if that kid don't want to go to that college? What if the kid doesn't want to play that sport just because you played it? What if that kid doesn't want to do what you did? They want to go find their own path. Are you going to force your kid to do something they don't want to do just for your own satisfaction? Or do you genuinely want your child to be happy in decisions that they've made? It's a hard lick. I'm not gonna lie. It's a hard lick having to step back and relinquish control. It's a hard lick having to sit back, be more of a guidance when you were so used to being influential in your child. If you're a teacher or however this applies to you, it's hard to not have control of the ultimate choice and having to leave the choice to another party. But all you can do in those moments is just, hey, I hope everything that I've taught you, everything that I've shown you, the convictions that I live by, the values that I've set, I hope all this plays a role and you come back to it and you can make the best informed decision possible. I hope this helps you, but you got to be willing to let them make in their own. I tell my kids this: for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And the reaction can be good or bad depending on your action. So if you want a good reaction, do good things. If you want a bad reaction, do bad things. I mean, that's something that I tell my kids all the time. And I'm a firm believer you're going to get out what you put in. As these kids are in school and as these kids grow up and as you deal with other individuals, heck, even your spouse, don't force your right to be their right. Let them come to their own version of what is right. And that way, when they come to their own version of what is right, it's their own and not something you forced upon them. Guide them, lead them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I go through it now with my dog. I put faucet water and my dog wants bottled water. I mean, it's water. But to my dog, faucet water ain't as good as the bottled water. My opinion, you're a dog. It's all the same. But you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I'll end it with this. The same thing I started with. If me being 100% right overrides your freedom of choice, then ultimately I am wrong. If you are new to this, go on and hit that like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe button. If you are true to this, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll see y'all again next time. Peace.